Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama. Your bottom leg, bottom leg. Krishna, Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama. स्वस्ति स्वस्ति सुमंगलय केशव महान श्री कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद गण सर्वेश्वर ददातु ओम स्वस्ति ओम स्वस्ति ओम स्वस्ति। हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram
Everybody will have an offer the flower after this, after the after the flower. Yeah. Later. Later. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Now, please come and go to our north. Please come and take the deities. Back and dress the deities nicely. Then we'll bring the deities and then we'll have the arati and then we'll also get our thing. Yeah, Sudarshan ji go first. Sudarshan ji. Please be seated. We'll be beginning a class.
I'm just going to read through the Bhagavatam and then we'll give you the microphone. Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutane Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Devi Shri Chaitanya Krishna Sandeshwari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama.
How many here were at the Potomac Temple for the the Abhishek ceremony, the whole big festival there? Yeah, me too. Those of us that were there was something that Gauravani pointed out to us about the temple room. What do you remember about the temple room? The carvings in the temple room. All around the perimeter of the ceiling of the temple room was bells carved. And the first thing I noticed when I came in here is bells across the front, over on the side, over on that side. Now maybe somebody that lives here can tell us what the history is, because he said the history of the deity of Radha Madan Mohan was the shop owner that gave the deity, called the shop bells. He sold brassware, Indian brassware. He called the shop bells. He called two devotees, Gargamuni and Ramananda, come, urgent. He had an inspiration to have the deities to help at any time. So what's the story? Do you know the story behind the bell? We'll have the story behind the bell. As in temples, so also in homes, because the idea is to make one's home a temple. One lecture, I heard it many times and I haven't been able to find it since. Srila Prabhupada was describing his household life and how he conducted his regulation in his household life. Would you like to hear? There's a few householders here. One, two. The emphasis was regulation and cleanliness, and as he explained to us with deity worshippers, punctuality and cleanliness. So he was emphasizing regulation and cleanliness. In his household life, it's centered around the deity. So his description was, after rising, taking bath, applying tila, going straight away to the temple, the temple, he would call it the temple, the altar, place where his deity was, and pay obeisances. First thing, make it clean. Not that it wasn't clean, but make it clean because cleanliness. And then offer prayers, and then arati, and then bhoga offering, and then arati. You know, this is what he did as a householder in his household life. Then he would perform his other sadhana activities and go about his daily affair. In the evening, come before the deity, pay obeisances, and make the place clean. I mean, it's just like cleanliness. First cleanliness. And then evening prayers, etc. But his life as a householder, it was rare. I haven't heard so many descriptions like that he was describing his life as a householder. And of course, deity worship isn't only for householders. We have such nice example of our Goswamis, who are all renounced like anything, but they, with one exception, they all had deities. And their life was dedicated to their deity, along with dedicated to Lord Chaitanya and their writing and their teachings and sharing the message of Lord Chaitanya with others in various ways. I'm going to read Srila Prabhupada's purport from Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 22. You can look it up later if you want. This reference. Chapter 3 of Canto 2 is called Pure Devotional Service, Changing Heart. And it follows chapter 1 and chapter 2. In chapter 1 is forming a conception of the universal form in a different way even than how it's described in Bhagavad Gita, but forming a conception of universal form, then shifting to meditation upon the form of the Lord at the heart, and then the change of heart. The change of heart is engaging in devotional service. Specifically here in this verse is deity worship. But devotional service devotional service in general, Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam. The root word of bhakti or devotional service is bhaj, B-H-A-J. And bhaj means specifically, Prabhupada defines this, is engaging the senses in the service of the master of the senses, engaging the senses, practical activity. So deity worship falls in the category of practical activity. There's the theory, God is a person, and there's a practical activity, deity worship, God is a person. So here's the verse from Canto 2, chapter 3. This is engaging the senses, goes with the eyes and the legs in this verse. The eyes, which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality Godhead Vishnu, parentheses, his forms, plural, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock. And the legs, which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered, are considered to be like a trunk. Report by Srila Prabhupada. Especially for householder devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu, forms like Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, or Sitaram. Especially, or any other form of the Lord like Krishna, Varaha, Purnatai, Lachi, Kurma, Shalagram, Sila, and many other forms of Vishnu, like Trivikram, Keshava, Achyuta, Vasudeva, Narayana, and Damodar, as recommended in the Vaishnava Tantras or Puranas, and one's family should worship strictly following the directions and regulations of Arjuna Vidya. Long purpose. Is on our topic. Any member of the family who is above 12 years of age should be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, and all the members of the household should be engaged in the daily service of the Lord beginning from morning, parentheses, 4 a.m. till night, parentheses, 10 p.m. by performing Mangala Arati, Niranjana Archana Puja Kirtan Shrikar by Kali, Sandhya Arati Panta, Bhoga at night, Shayana Arati, etc. Engagement in such worship of the deity under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master will greatly help the householders to purify their very existence and make rapid progress in spiritual knowledge. Simple theoretical book knowledge is not sufficient for a neophyte devotee. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas Archana process is practical. Spiritual knowledge must be developed by a combination of theoretical and practical knowledge. And that is the guaranteed way for attainment of spiritual perfection. From sadhana to perfection, that went pretty fast. The training of devotional service for a neophyte devotee completely depends on the expert spiritual master who knows how to lead his disciple to make gradual progress towards the path back home, back to Godhead. One should not become a pseudo spiritual master as a matter of business to meet one's family expenditures, semicolon. One must be an expert spiritual master to deliver the disciple from the clutches of impending death. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has defined the bona fide qualities of a spiritual master. And one of the verses in that description reads, you can say with me, Shivigrahara Dhananitya Sringaradhana. Cha, or suitable worshipable form of the Lord, and the disciple should be engaged in worshiping the deity regularly by Shringara, by proper decoration and dressing, and also by Mandira Marjana, the matter of cleansing the temple. The spiritual master teaches the neophyte devotee all these kindly and personally to help him gradually in the realization of spiritual domain, quality, form, etc. of the Lord. Paragraph, long one coming up. Only attention engaged in the service of the Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtana and spiritual instructions from scriptures, can save the common man from the hellish cinema attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere by radios and a few other types of media since this was television. If one is unable to maintain a temple at home, you should go to another temple where all the above performances are regularly executed. Visiting the temple of a devotee and looking at the profusely decorated forms of the Lord, well dressed in a well decorated, sanctified temple, naturally infuse the mundane mind with spiritual inspiration. Now comes the legs. People should visit holy places like Vrindavan, where such temples and worship of the deity are specifically maintained. Formerly, all rich men, like kings and rich merchants, constructed such temples under the direction of expert devotees of the Lord, like the 6 Goswamis. And it is the duty of the common man to take advantage of these temples and festivals observed in the holy places of pilgrimage by following the footsteps of great devotees. Anu Rajadasi, form of fingers. Raja was one of the words in the verse. You people are used to it. One should not visit all these sanctified pilgrimage places and temples with sightseeing in mind, but one must go to such temples and sanctified places immortalized by the transcendental pastime of the Lord and be guided by proper men who know the science. This is called Anu Vraja, there's same word twice in 2 sentences. Anu means to follow. It is therefore best to follow the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master, even in visiting temples and the holy places of pilgrimage. But it does not move in that way. It is good as a standing tree, condemned by the Lord, not to move. The moving tendency of the human being is misused by visiting places for sightseeing. The best purpose of such traveling tendencies could be fulfilled by visiting the holy places established by the great acharyas, and thereby not being misled by atheistic propaganda of money-making men with no knowledge of spiritual matters. No, that could be very firm, maybe even hard, maybe even the tone is not soft. In part, it's his acharya privilege. It's not a stick to whack people, it's helping his audience, which he's writing the books for the world. The world is in darkness of illusion. And he wants to, when people are in darkness of illusion, you speak loudly, softly, to wake people from the slumber of the darkness of illusion. Now I noticed, like probably you did too, that in this list of deities of Vishnu, he didn't list Jagannath. Did you notice? And it's a little surprising. It's a little surprising because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had such affinity for Lord Jagannath. I've been circulating to many devotees. I didn't send it to everybody because I didn't. Maybe I'll send it to. Yeah, I sent it to you. Okay, you sent it to everybody. At least, you know, this. How we send messages out. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Jagannath Puri, when Lord Jagannath entered Jagannath Puri, he fainted, or he went into a swoon of ecstasy. The swoon of ecstasy was tested, as you probably know, by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He wanted to see if he was faking, right? So he knew he was a great scientist, so he, sannyasi lying in front of him, he took little fibers of cotton and held the fibers of cotton before his nostril. And if he was cheating, then in regular breathing, the fibers would move like somebody breathing. But it was motionless. So he was, the ingoing and outgoing air was suspended. He was in trance. He was in a state of transcendental ecstasy. And he didn't know what to do. He tried what he knew what to do to revive him, but nothing worked. But when Lord Nityananda and the other devotees made it there, they found out where he was, and they loudly chanted the holy name, and he came to external consciousness. But from the very get-go, just seeing Lord Jagannath, he saw Krishna because Jagannath and Krishna are the same. That's what his mother said. It is true. Jagannath. And there's a special mood of Jagannath and Jagannath Rath Yatra, etc., etc., etc. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for purposes of his descending into this world to give the congregational chanting of the holy name to everyone throughout the land, Yuga, Dharma, duty, not duty, but his mission. When he reached Sri Rangam, it was just the beginning of the 4 months of the rainy season. And so he also went into a state of ecstasy and dancing and dancing and dancing. And he was invited by the chief priest, Venkatabhata. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita story. And in addition to offering prasad, he invited him at the beginning of the rainy season, please stay in my home. And so, because of the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because the son of Venkatabhata, the chief priest, became Gopalbhata, because he was Gopal, just a little boy. And one of the yatras that we conducted was just following the path that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followed when he went on the South India tour. One of the places we went was Sri Rangam. One of the places that a few of us were taken to was the house where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed. It was special. Just described that the house was like, in what, externally speaking, like any other house. It's one of those really, really, really stand forever kind of houses where the walls are at least 3 feet thick. Because it's the home of Venkatabhata, now the present descendant, if I'm not mistaken, does somebody know for sure? Murali Bhatta? Does anybody know for sure? My memory says that is his name. So he took us inside, and there was nothing. I mean, it was the table, and it was spotlessly clean, but there was no paraphernalia. There wasn't like the usual household stuff. It was just really thick walls, no electric lamps, just some lamps on the wall, ghee lamps, and there was a vibration in the place that was different. It was like, maybe some of you have been to 26 Second Avenue. When you first have been to 26 Second Avenue, you can feel something. And the second time, it's a special place because Prabhupada was there, the Kirtan, and good thing, so on. So then he said, would you like to see the deities that Lord Chaitanya carved? Lord Chaitanya carved deities. His comment was, it was an idol. He was here for 4 months. The explanation is, he was feeling such separation from Jagannath and Baladeva and Subhadra that with his own hand he carved deities of Jagannath, Baladeva, and Subhadra. And they look very different. But as Lord Chaitanya's, it's not impressionistic art, it's his carving of Jagannath, Baladeva, and Subhadra. I'm sure subsequently that they were painted many times, but their forms are different. But Jagannath, Baladeva, and Subhadra, because that was what was in his heart. Now he could have carved Krishna holding a flute, but he carved Jagannath. We can't go ask them why to do this instead of that, but they're not different. Because something happens when you dedicate yourself to a deity. I mean, many things happen, but there's reciprocation. It's the principle that Krishna reciprocates with the love of his devotees, always, in all circumstances. It's a small house. And it's not on the level of Lord Chaitanya this happens. It's anyone's level. Lord Chaitanya or Krishna reciprocate with the devotion of their devotees. Let me see a show of hands. You don't have to tell your story. how many have had some experience of exchange with their deities in their home that indicate some very special reciprocation between you and your deity in your home? How many have had that experience? It may happen, it may not happen, but if it does happen, it's unique and it's very personal. One time I was visiting, I won't say where, and the husband and wife, she was a Brahmana, and she was worshiping her deity at home very fastidiously, and I asked her, do you also worship the deity in the temple? She looked at her husband, so her husband spoke on her behalf, because it was like the thing to do. He said to me, just like in the temple, for so many years, 12 years, 7 times a day, she does offering and arti, and Boga offering 3 times a day. She doesn't have time. She does it 7 days of the week. I guess, she does something when she is off the altar, as we say in ISKCON, something, maybe he covers for her or something. I don't know. Didn't ask that one. So I looked at her, and she's very, well, a goodness person, just smiled, nodded her head. And I said, wow, have you had some personal exchange with your deity that because of your dedication to your Radha Krishna deities, that they're letting you know that they're very pleased with your worship? She smiled. She nodded her head. She looked at her husband. He said, go ahead, say. So she said, when I make Boga offerings, I always remove Krishna's flute. And I put Krishna's flute always in the very same place. And after the Boga offerings are removed, then I put Krishna's flute back. So one time when I went to put Krishna's flute back, the flute wasn't there. I looked at Krishna and the flute was in his hands. She didn't say, and then he smiled or he chuckled or something like that. But it was, she understood very clearly, this is reciprocation, a moment's reciprocation, that the deity is not different than Krishna. Krishna is accepting her service, and she is his way of confirming it's true, not just nice teaching, it's true. So devotees have had such experiences. We have many examples in Chaitanya Charitamrita, for example, where Lord Chaitanya would show to different persons different forms or give them different experiences to confirm. One of them I like very much. He didn't show another form, but when he was exchanging with Prakashananda Saraswati in Varanasi, after they had their little exchange of Mahaprabhu was being humble and Prakashananda wanting him to come and sit with them, and he was, I'm not qualified to sit with all you elevated persons. He showed his Brahmajyoti effulgence because their interest was the Brahmajyoti effulgence. It's only one, the oneness of Brahman. So he showed this effulgence. He's a humble sannyasi, but he's not an ordinary sannyasi. No, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to do that, and deities are certainly able to do that. And the main with deity worship, there's procedures, there's vidhis are there to be followed. It's mentioned specifically. The Pancharatras or the Puranas. Now there's sections in the Pancharatras are portions of the Vedas, like Narada Pancharatra is the particular Pancharatra that we follow, and the deity worship manual for ISKCON is drawn from that. And Hari Bhakti Vilas is another text that is drawn from the Vedas it describes details and details and details of deity worship. I mean, those of you that went to the festival in Potomac, one of the senior pujaris that was standing, guiding us in the procedures that we were supposed to follow, he leaned over and said, I've been a pujari for 35 years and I've never seen anything like this. The depth of what these pujaris that are so dedicated to the rituals of deity worship and mantras and mantras and mantras, they can stand there for hours and just recite mantras from memory, just like they're versed. It's not, it's Vaishnava mantras. So there's procedures that one can go and go and go, just like the Vedas. Can you find the bottom? You can find the bottom of the ocean. You can find the bottom of a river or a lake. You can find the bottom of the ocean, but you can't find the bottom of the Vedas. There's no bottom. Take any topic and just keep going and going and going and going. There's no end. I came across one today and pausing whether I should share this, I'm going to share it. A little discussion today with some learned Vaishnavas. How many verses are there in Srimad Bhagavatam? 18,000, right? Have you ever counted how many verses there are in Srimad Bhagavatam? Not 18,000. 14,072 or something like that. Exactly. 14,000 plus minus, plus a little bit. So a little discussion with learned devotees, and there's an explanation of the number comes, the bell rings at 18,000. It has to do with some Sanskrit rules, which I'm not going to go into right now, but there's Anustup meter, just like how Ramayana was written as Anustup, a certain number of syllables per line. Many of the Bhagavad Gitas are the similar meter, some of them are longer. But you count the number of syllables in the Anustup meter, and it comes to 1.5 line less than 18,000. So it's no matter how you count. How many verses is how many lines. And anyway, it yes. Yeah, there's some other places too. That it's without going into where there's longer lines, but there's different meters. There's a verse in the 11th canto where it describes in the verse how many different meters there are in the Bhagavatam. And then Prabhupada comments. Prabhupada gives the names of those different. Anyway, and on and on and on and on and on. So deity worship has rules. That was the point. And there's procedures to be followed. We follow them. The procedure that Prabhupada gave us is very simple. For deity worship, for the rituals that we do, it was very simple. And then the more simple can become more elaborate, just like this list of things that one can do, and this and that and that and that. And many of us may not even know what all those ands have to do. What do they mean? And if one does the simple, one does the intermediate, one does the very involved. It's not that you're a better pujari, you're a better worshiper if you get more involved. But according to taste and according to inclination, according to disposition of heart, there's no limit within the boundaries of the Vedas. So the essential elements are cleanliness and punctuality. And in worship. The principle of worship has these two principal elements. And of course, the love and devotion with which you do things rather than mechanically do. This, because the essence is bhakti, the essence is the rules. We follow rules to help us get to the essence. So deity worship is especially valuable for householders. It's mentioned 3 times in the purport. And why is that? Well, one of the reasons is it helps regulation. One of the reasons. Another reason is, Prabhupada's explanation is, the bodily conception of life is made spiritualized by taking the bodily conception and worshiping the deity form. Because there's husband, there's wife, and often there's children, and because husband, wife, and children, then there's identification or contact with bodily forms. To transfer or transform that bodily situation to the spiritual situation, then deity worship is very helpful. Then mentioned twice in the purport, nicely decorated. It's nice to see something gorgeous and opulent, but that tendency for something nice and gorgeous and opulent be situated upon the deity form of the Lord. And then having festivals. This is where spontaneous devotion starts to enter, where in one's mind one is contemplating in advance of a festival, how I can decorate the deity nicely, how we can, etc., etc., etc. So all of you have come at the invitation of the family who's hosting this gathering, and you're coming together to celebrate their installing of the deities of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. So it's appropriate. And a fourth thing is using one's wealth in the Lord's service. It immediately is accomplished. So it's especially beneficial for householders. I'll say one last thing, because are the deities nearly ready? Yes? They're ready. Okay, concluding. Before Prabhupada, they're ready? Yes? No? Maybe? Yes? You can just sit. Somebody just went.
He's saying 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. When Prabhupada left his household life for 2 years, he didn't use the word vagabond, but he didn't have any fixed residence. There were opportunities, and the opportunities dried up like mirage. Then he ended up in Vrindavan. And when he ended up in Vrindavan, where did he stay? For 6 years, he stayed at Radha Vamsi Gopal Temple. Correct? Not sure. Radha Vamsi Gopal. Vamsi Gopal. What's the Radha Vamsi Gopal? That was one of the 5,000 temples the Prabhupada writes about in Vrindavan. And what is it? It's exactly what he's describing here. It's a merchant's family that had wealth, and so they used wealth to install a deity in their large home. It's their home. And it's known as Radha Vamsi Gopal Temple. It's not for tax exemption purposes, that's America. It's their bhakti. So there's the deity is Radha Vamsi Gopal. And you go inside the front gate. We okay?
Yes.
go inside the front gate and there's a courtyard. And you go on the back side of the courtyard, there's an arch, and behind the arch, there's the temple. There's for the deity. And Prabhupada stayed in an upper floor, just like a little room. That's where he stayed, a little room. A little room. For 6 years. There was no fixed residence other than that was his place. And every day he'd go down, same as he described it during his household life, make the place, pay obeisances, make the place clean, offer prayers to the deity, the lady of the house did the offerings, etc. He was taking Krishna Prasadam for those 6 years. Then, by invitation of the main Goswami at the Radha Damodar temple, he received an invitation, come stay here. So he went. He wasn't yet a sannyasi, but he was trained as a Vaishnava. So in any position, this is the point, at any stage of life, some are students here and some are getting married and some are married and some have children and some are on the other side of their family life with their children and so forth and so on. At every stage, the deity worship has its importance. So the deities are getting ready to come back and join us. So we're getting ready to invite them back. There's a bunch of hand motions going on over here. He wants the conch shell to be going, okay. So here come the deities. So we can stand and the deities will come and we'll have our for the deities. Huh? You want me to come? Who's the care time person? Whoever's the care time person. We interrupted you.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shiva Krishna Prasthaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Gaurasi Namaste Nirvisheshana Mudra Ashtadharishmadari Gauravani Prabhu
Everybody can sit down.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama.